Delaware in the building. Y'all ain't ready for the Delaware takeover. Y'all not ready for this unique style and creativity that everybody in the world wants to see. Nadj N Jea is bringing it, and everything they bring got that Delaware swag.
Hey, everybody. Oh, now that was fantastic. You just got.
What happened
It's
to it?
broken. That was funny.
Pew, pew, pew.
What's your broke horn?
Hey, everybody.
That was
Welcome
really funny.
to your evening sip of local news. What's happening?
Real world mess.
I am Nadj Nicole. I've recently gotten back into sewing, and I really like fries.
So what? My name is Jay Porter Street Jr.
I see what you did.
And I love tequila.
Make sure you listen back to the replay of this episode on WJVSradio.com. You can also download the app. Delaware's own Grown Folks Radio. And I know we don't typically do events that are farther out, but they will be having a mixer, a WJVS Live, Get in the Mix, where you can come and watch the DJs spin live. Talk to them, have a drink, have some snacks. We'll be there hanging out December 20th from 8 to 11 p.m. Get your tickets. Go to WJVS on Facebook, and I think tickets are $10. And there are only a limited number of seats.
Limit.
Temperature check.
You know,
You always go first. Ask me.
I consider myself to be a lady.
You
Go ahead.
have to ask me.
How's your temperature?
I'm good. I'm mild.
Okay.
Better than last week.
Okay.
Better than last week.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. But you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. How about you?
I'm actually pretty good. With all of the stuff that I have going on that I can't talk about, I actually got a little bit of hope yesterday with some things, and that has made me feel a lot less weight, at least on the day to day. You know what I'm saying? So I had a good birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I had a good relaxing weekend. So I feel good. Yeah, and I'm actually starting to kind of get excited for the next year, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. Flowers. Who do you have flowers for?
Listen, for our good brother Sam Wilson Photography. We put together. Well, he came to me. Why we do this, son? Like normally, I feel pretty manly, but when I'm with like the real with the real heavy rappers, you know what I'm saying? When they can really express anger and like get that real grit, I'm like, I'm just a singer. I'm a singer. I'm here to sing my songs, and I feel great. You know, I'm just happy melodies. And he came to me because he wanted to do a part 2. We dropped it. You can check it on his page.
When was the first one dropped?
The first one was maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did a part 2, and he shot it beautifully. And what he had to say, one thing I love about Sam. And I don't want people to live in a space of anger, but when I need anger, there's nothing better than Sam when he's in his like FU mode, because
I love Sam.
It's just it's like he speaks for me in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't sing that sentiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's part of why we pair so well. So go to his page, check out the video. We both said as clearly as we could within our own mediums why we do what we do still. And he did a beautiful job of shooting it. It was his idea, and I was just here to sort of help carry out my part. So
I would like to say there were 2 things I was offended by.
Sure.
One, that the 2 of you were in fields. That is not an accurate depiction.
In my heart, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's number 1.
I identify as a field Negro.
All I saw was fields and fields. And I was like, this
red leaves, yellow Negroes, and orange.
Y'all a little too pretty to be out here like this, yelling and hooting and hollering and whatnot.
Like, what you angry about?
With your hair flowing in the wind. And the other thing was that not once did you mention how you do it to fund Nadj N Jea. Not once.
Well, you see,
so I just want to say
it's like trickle down economics. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If that is successful, all of this success eventually trickles down to what Nadj N Jea do.
So that means Nadj N Jea is on a lower level.
No, it's just in the stream of things because the river is not greater than the ocean. And the ocean is not greater than the river. They are all one source, and it starts and ends, but it's all one journey.
Okay.
See how I threw that there?
Go watch the video.
I think I approached that pretty well.
Why they do this? All right. Flowers to Sha. She was selected as a Delaware Fellow for the 2024-2025 National Leaders of Color Fellowship representing the Mid-Atlantic Arts region. This fellowship unites 55 trailblazing leaders from across the nation.
And this is a super populous region, so to be able to get such an honor in this space that is full of Black people.
And I talked to her, and they were only picking one person from Delaware.
Okay.
So well-deserved. Flowers to you, my dear. And then flowers and condolences and love and healing energy to the family and fans of Nikki Giovanni, who passed away. Poet, writer, activist, commentator, educator, mentor, just all around amazing, amazing woman. Legacy that will never be forgotten.
Yeah, from my end, what's been really frustrating for me about this year, along with a million other things, is we've lost a lot of our really great greats this year. Like the top cream of the crop of Blackness. And, you know, these are just hard losses. Like there's no replacing her. There's no replacing Quincy Jones. There's no replacing Frankie Beverly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
well, I think we shouldn't want to replace anyone. We should want to figure out how we're going to continue.
Yeah, and I don't see the next Quincy Jones lined up.
Listen.
So
not for the reasons he did music, you know.
So that's my fear. But it's a loss, and I hope that. Well, I know that she will continue to inspire poets of all kinds, you know, for the long haul, but it's a big loss.
Yeah. And I know there are several people on my timeline who are mourning her life. And I just want to send you love, because I know when you have someone that you idolize, that you love, that you just honored to be around, and they pass away, it's definitely hard.
One thing that I can say, and I'm not even going to halfway front like I'm the most knowledgeable person regarding her work, but I know for a fact that she was bold and fearless. And those are, in as much as I might not be as talented, I definitely try to embody those characteristics for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
And whenever we lose someone big, I always at least try to think in my own head, even though, you know, I'm not going to become the next Quincy Jones per se. There are certain traits that I will try to remember, like, you know, artistic integrity for him. You know, taking your craft seriously. So I take my craft a little bit more seriously. And with her, it's like when someone bold and brave goes, I got to make sure I stay bold and brave, and if anything, become more emboldened. So
Okay. Now going into local news, but also flowers, because you haven't made it. You have not truly made it until you have been in some celebrity drama. Okay. And the Wilmington Library has done that yet again.
Jamar, why are you causing all these problems, bruh?
I swear. Every time I turn around, they got your name in their mouth. What's going on? The Wilmington Library.
The librarian is just supposed to be like the classes.
But instead you on a shade room.
God, how'd you do that, bruh?
So Jaleel White said something controversial. Now Randall up in the mix. Jamar, the Wilmington Library. I'm telling you, I guess y'all really made it.
Mama made it.
But no, aside from all that mess, the fact that they're even they had the logo, the Wilmington Library words and logo smack dab in the middle.
How amazing is that, though? Really?
Because now people will be like, well, why was he there?
But no, just
it's
the
marketing.
idea that a library would be in the mix of pop culture is so revolutionary.
I love it.
Like, that doesn't happen. You're not going to go to New Mexico and experience something revolutionary necessarily. Maybe you will, but I don't know. But at the library, you know what I mean? The library.
I love
more
it.
important.
I love it. The work y'all do there is phenomenal. Yeah. So I'm glad y'all in the shade room.
You made it.
You made it. Oh, that's more funding. Look, that's national news. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Trickle down. Right.
Also, the Free Luigi movement is on the rise.
I have some serious and not serious things to say about that.
I just want to say I understand. No, let me not even say I understand, because I don't understand. He killed a man. Killed a man. And I don't know. There's a lot to unpack here.
It's very complicated. Yeah. To me, at least.
Yeah.
Not to others,
but the fact that y'all on here, and then on top of that, you got the women just fiending over him.
Really, which is funny and scary.
There's a lot happening in this society that's questionable, and I don't know what to do here. I mean, he killed a man.
But he did. So I'm playing
in broad daylight.
I'm playing. I don't like to do this, but the counter argument is that he killed, and I disagree. But the argument is that he killed this man for a good reason, because of how messed up. So he would say,
the CEO doesn't handle claims, doesn't handle.
But he sets up the policy, and he's making millions of dollars.
No, there's a board. There's a bunch of people, and then there's the trickle down effect because of the stream.
So you get who you can get, to make a statement.
Listen,
that's how you make your statement, is that we're not going to take this anymore. And when, let's talk about America. Like if they got the Second Amendment, in case that First Amendment, you know what I'm saying? If all goes to crap, we have our Second Amendment to use violence if we can't overthrow tyranny.
But now, what are we teaching our kids when you get upset about something? Oh, just go kill them.
But I'm coming back around.
Not saying that whatever his medical reason for wanting to harm this man or kill this man wasn't justified. Nothing's justifiable to kill a person.
Malcolm X.
You being upset and feeling slighted or feeling lost in the sauce because of a policy is understandable. But to go and kill someone is what
by any means necessary. Malcolm X. Part of the reason, one of the arguments is that part of the reason that Dr. King was able to be so successful is because it's listen, we can do it this way or the Malcolm X way. How do you want to have it? You know what I'm saying? The threat of violence. Malcolm X said by any means necessary.
Right now,
and there are plenty of militant Black people who are willing to go above and beyond for the freedom of their people.
Listen, customer service is already scary. Customer service is already scary. Then we got this happening. I'm telling you. Oh, God.
And let's look, and it's different. But you think about men have you heard of John Brown?
No.
He was a blue-eyed white man who fought to end slavery, and he killed a lot of white people. Very violent for the sake of a cause that he believed in. Revolution is violent.
I understand revolution, and I understand fighting for the cause. I will never say anything that promotes killing another person.
Do you think that there is ever a point where political violence is justified?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay, cool.
I plead the fifth.
You can plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
So I think my gut reaction, coming from a place of privilege, who has never had to really who has good insurance and who has never been denied proper coverage. And I think that this Luigi kid is also kind of in a situation where he comes from a wealthy family, as far as I understand.
Is he mentally ill?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
Some of the things that they found from on his pages and stuff, and I don't know, it sounded kind of like they were.
Well, he
saying
went.
mental.
I know that intelligence and mental illness are two completely separate things, but like it seems to me like at least up through undergrad, like he was comes from a very prominent family,
Got you.
did well in school, and apparently part of the story is that he got a serious back injury,
Yes,
and then went dark and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And we're still figuring out the whole story. Fundamentally, from my end, my personal belief, coming from a place of privilege, and especially because he's coming from a wealthy family, I really cringe bad when I see people making him a hero. And I can obviously understand that our healthcare is bad and that people are getting screwed across the board for bad healthcare, and that other people who run these companies are making gobs and gobs of money, and it's not fair and it's not right. And the system needs to be changed. I don't know the CEO at all. He might be a horrible person. Let's just say he's the worst human being ever. Not that bad, but like, let's say he's a really bad person. Is it okay to then get a gun and murder him?
No.
I can't. That doesn't sit right with me. And I know that there are people watching this right now, what we're saying, and they're like, well, you don't, maybe we don't have a real appreciation for what revolution is and what that should look like. And you could make some. I've seen arguments online where people are saying, the millions of lives that have been lost in America due to poor healthcare and to insurance companies being greedy. This is a sign and a statement that something has to change. I understand that, but fundamentally, as a person, again, who is coming from a place of privilege, I am very nonviolent. And in as much as I'm very nonviolent, I think it's well known that I own firearms. And I've trained myself to fight if I have to. So I'm not against violence, but like, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me, this situation. I can't pull it together. Like, I do feel like there is a place for violent revolution, but I don't even think he had like a real sort of plan to like do more. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, it just doesn't sit right with my soul that like people are online saying how hot he is and kind of making him a hero or a folk hero. That just doesn't sit right with me. And maybe I'll see it differently at some point, but fundamentally, I don't get it. And feel free to say in the comments why you support his actions, so maybe I'll understand it differently. But fundamentally, glorifying violence, even though we live in an extremely violent country that has always used violence, I disagree with that violence that this country's used. I don't like it.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for you, I'll be honest, because it's a very touchy subject, and I don't want to be. I want change, like immediate change, for people of color, for babies, for women, for the elderly. I want active change, period. And I don't know if I could get behind. I don't know if I am behind someone dying for that change, especially in that way.
Yeah, sorry.
But I also know that when people are unheard, something's going to happen.
The thing is, I don't think like it would be a stronger argument presented to me if after this things changed,
I think that thing we talked about where, well, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but one of the other health insurance companies was basically they were going to say how long a procedure needs anesthesia, and if it goes over that amount of time, they're going to cut the claim. They're going to deny the claim.
Screwed up.
That is now not happening anymore.
And so there's an argument there.
I mean, of course, things are going to change when somebody dies. Let's just be.
Well, I don't think ultimately that things are going to really change,
but
though.
Something
and that's
did change.
Yeah, but not significant, anywhere near significant. It's almost like, to me, if you say, okay, racism is a huge problem in America. So today what we're going to do is implement DEI into all schools. Great.
They did.
And it's also slowly being taken away.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like they'll change the policy now.
Right.
5 more years, back to that policy, kick rocks. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this because I want to move on before we have a short show today.
Want to go to the fun stuff first?
I want to go to the fun stuff.
Okay.
All right. So I was looking online and I love the memes that pose questions about like how things should go in relationships and life or whatever. So one of them was, what should be the bigger priority in a relationship, the baby or the marriage? And there are a lot of people.
Like a false question, but go ahead.
A lot of people were saying that don't rush getting married, but you can have a baby together. And other people were like, why would you have a child with somebody you don't want to marry? And like, there's a lot of different conversations around that, the baby and marriage. For me, y'all know I had Journey and I wasn't married. And I'm glad I didn't get married. I'm glad I did not.
At the same time, it was your intention at that point.
Yes, right? I was engaged. And we were engaged before we had Journey. But now looking back, I'm glad. And before I got married with the twins, we were engaged for 2 years because I just was not ready to be married. And then we ended up getting pregnant with the twins. And I was like, all right, we're going to get married before these babies pop out. But I'm glad that I had that.
Why did you want that?
What?
Why were you saying I want to get married?
Because it was a possibility that I could die. My kids, but the twins could die. And he would not have had any say in any of the procedures.
That's totally legit.
So it was like, okay, we're going to get married because you need to have say in your children's lives and in my life.
Sure.
But that's different circumstances. This is for people
in a very unique circumstance.
Very unique. But for me, if I was, giving advice to someone, I would say wait for both until you feel completely comfortable with either or.
What do you mean?
Like, don't just have a baby with someone and wait to get married. Like, let's think a little bit deeper about the child, not just, I want to be with this person and we'd have cute kids. Because I feel like a lot of people have these Instagram babies where you can post 7 months and this, and you got the little board and people want to post the family pictures and they want to have the baby shower that looks like a wedding, but they're not really thinking about the fact that this is a child that you are raising to be here for 75, 80 years and is going to carry your legacy. I feel like people don't even think about that anymore. They just, pop a baby out. But then I also think people don't think about marriage as the long-term commitment through better or for worse, richer or poorer. It's an Instagram thing. I feel like nobody truly thinks about the commitment for either of those things. So until you understand that, wait.
So it's obviously complicated and very subjective. If I were to try to sort of prioritize the decision-making process to someone who was just coming to me, my first question honestly would be, are you religious? Do you have a religion that you are very that's important to you? Because if you are, casual Christianity is not the same thing as like I am. Let's be honest, right?
Casual Christianity.
Yeah, like I'm Christian. My mom said I'm
you
Christian.
Gotta say the casual.
Whatever. Pick your religion. Yeah. There's a lot of casual Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad raised me Muslim.
Casual religion or religion.
So if your religion is really at the heart of who you are, then you should probably just follow whatever those directives are. I don't know what they are necessarily, but whatever your religion is, if that's what your thing is, I would start with that number one.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is marriage. So my opinion is that outside of religion, the only reason that marriage sort of matters is because of the legality issues, specifically in America.
Yeah.
But at that point, if you decide whether or not that's not something you're really concerned about, whether or not the person has rights to so on and so forth, then marriage kind of really doesn't matter. Like animals don't get married, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just this is a human.
Comparing us to dolphins.
But we are animals. But right, and that's the whole point. We're eagles. I'm
a swan.
Eagles,
I mate for life.
Right, you mate for life, but they don't gotta have a document to say we're gonna mate for life. That's just what they do.
Well, if they're at the zoo, there's a document. that says that.
I'm trying to make my point, and you are sending this. No, it's funny.
No, really, what he's trying to say is, if you got some coins and you want to be with somebody and you want them to get the coins, then you want to marry them and do all the paperwork. But if you don't want them to get the coins, but you want to be with them right now, don't marry them so they can't get your coins.
It's just you don't have to get married to somebody to be completely committed to them for the rest of your life.
Very
and
true.
And
you can do other types of paperwork. You can start an LLC together.
You can.
You can do a what do they call the common law? You can do common law where you get some benefits. You could do. There's also some power of attorney.
Yeah. So it really depends on how you view marriage. You know.
Yeah.
There are good reasons to get married.
Yeah. But a baby does not mean, and also a baby does not mean you're married.
No. And again, you don't have to get married. You could very well have a baby with someone successfully and have no long-term commitment. It just depends on what you want, honestly.
This is something y'all should be talking about.
Now, from my end,
he waited 4,000 years.
I waited as long as possible, and I really did because of a lot of different reasons that we can go into, but probably not today just because of the time constraints. But you know, kids have changed me and made me for the better. And one thing that I do know, and I work with kids all of my adult life, is that, and I believe this, and you can call me conservative, whatever. Kids need healthy parents, and they ideally need two parents.
Yeah.
And I'll even go so far, y'all can get mad at me, it's okay. I really believe that mom and dad, they're two different energies. They're two different things altogether. And you can be successful in all the ways. Okay. You can have one mom, you can have one dad, you can do it. A child can be raised successfully in many ways. But I have seen over and over again what the absence of a good father can do and what the absence of a good mother can do. Okay. And I really feel like that fundamentally that the child has to be in a home where there is a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Because without that, the child literally isn't getting the love that they need in some capacity.
Yeah.
And they're growing up in a stressful environment, which is obviously bad for any kind of human being.
Yeah.
So you have to go through all of these different things and then ask yourself, you know, what matters to you? Plus, how old are you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're 45 years old and having your first kid as a woman, you know, you might be in more of a rush. Be like, listen, I just want someone to impregnate me with a healthy child and I'll figure it out. Maybe not the ideal situation, but we're 45 and we figured out a different way. So it really depends on exactly where you are in life. But I think fundamentally you have to ask yourself, okay, number one, how important is marriage to me and why?
Yeah.
And then what does a child actually need? And am I going to be able to give the child what they need?
Right.
And children need consistency.
Yes.
Children need love, the absence of
Nurturing.
stress and nurturing. And if you can't put them in an environment where they get that, then you shouldn't have the child.
Also, you don't have to have a baby if you get married. If you really want to get married, like, and that's your thing, but you're not sure about children, you do not have to have kids. I don't know why everybody thinks or asks that question or puts that into the universe, like you got to have babies. No,
you don't.
You do not have to.
There's no obligation.
You can have a very fulfilling life without children. You know, you got nieces and nephews, bonus babies from friends and godchildren. You know, you could donate to kids in orphanage in Russia. Who cares? Whatever works for you.
What I will say also, this is one of the pieces of advice that I give to anyone who's not married and who's like, you know, in an early relationship and considering marriage. And I mean this, and it's really fundamental. There's two pieces, and then I'll get off of it.
Make it quick.
Yeah. If you're with a person for the beginning of the relationship, before kids, even 2-3 years in, right? Whatever annoys you only this much at the beginning of the relationship, like if the person is pretty much perfect to you, but you don't like the way that they chew.
That butt gets bigger.
You don't like the way that they chew.
Literally and figuratively.
You don't like the way that they chew, or you don't like the way that they do the dishwasher. If you don't like, if you just are slightly, oh my God, it's
triggered.
So, no, oh my God, it's so cute. Like he's perfect, except I just, you know, it's not even a big deal. I don't really care, but like he never loads the dishwasher the right way, but it's okay. By the time that child is 2 years old, the woman will want to rip your entire neck off because of the dishwasher and multiply that. And if you are walking into it without things already being pretty dang good, By the time the child is there, everything is magnified past what you can understand.
Listen.
It's like being in outer space, and then the child comes and you are now looking at the earth from this close. Everything is completely different. Every little thing that only was sort of a slight nagging annoyance is horrible. Like